Picture a CEO plotting a hostile corporate takeover, an elite hacker probing a defense network for vulnerabilities, or a Super Bowl head coach staring down a fourth-quarter deficit. Though operating in completely different modern arenas, they are all pulling from a playbook written 2,500 years ago by an ancient Chinese general. Sun Tzu built his doctrine around one central, radical premise: the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Rather than compiling a simple list of battlefield tactics, he designed a comprehensive operating system for managing human competition. Before this text appeared in the late spring and autumn period, warfare was a chaotic pursuit of physical heroism. Armies met on fields and smashed into each other until one side ran out of men. Sun Tzu approached combat differently. He argued that warfare should be treated as a precise science, driven by calculation, espionage, and rigorous planning rather than raw emotion. To understand how a text from ancient China scales to modern corporate and cyber battlegrounds, historians examine the work through a framework called the three faces of Sun Tzu: the historical general, the universal military theorist, and the modern analogical strategist. By replacing the pursuit of physical annihilation with the pursuit of psychological dominance, Sun Tzu established a new template for managing human conflict. The first phase grounds us in the visceral reality of warring states China. As rival political centers fractured the Zhou dynasty, wars became existential. To survive, rulers desperately needed disciplined military structures. Sun Tzu demonstrated his extreme emphasis on this order through a famous test by King Helü of Wu. Tasked with organizing the king's harem, he enforced strict discipline, even executing the king's favorite concubines when they laughed at orders. The result was a unit that moved with absolute obedience. Yet this rigid discipline was counterbalanced by a concept drawn from Taoist philosophy: formlessness. He taught that a successful army must act like water. Just as water retains no constant shape, an army must have no constant conditions. It must flow and adapt completely to the external environment and the enemy's movements. By merging strict internal discipline with total external flexibility, Sun Tzu turned the military into an intelligent, highly responsive organism. The second phase zooms out to show how these specific tactics evolved into universal military doctrine. This approach stands in sharp contrast to Western military thinkers like Karl von Clausewitz, who argued centuries later that total physical destruction of the enemy's forces was the key to victory. This diagram illustrates Sun Tzu's hierarchy of attack. He advised that a commander's highest priority is dismantling the opponent's strategy. If that fails, the next step is disrupting their alliances. Engaging the enemy's army in physical combat is rank third, viewed as a costly last resort. Prioritizing strategy and alliances allows a general to break an adversary's will to fight before troops ever reach the battlefield, forcing a surrender through psychological dominance alone. These psychological tactics formed the direct foundation for what modern strategists term asymmetric warfare, conflicts where weaker forces use unconventional means to exploit a stronger enemy's vulnerabilities. Leaders throughout history have utilized these exact principles. Mao Zedong explicitly attributed his victory in the Chinese Civil War to Sun Tzu's methods, adopting fluid, indirect attacks to wear down a stronger opponent. For the universal commander, success is never measured by body counts. It is measured by the ability to shatter the enemy's will to continue the fight. The third phase makes the conceptual leap into modern, non-lethal conflict. Here, human psychology and information control replace swords and artillery as the primary weapons. Consider his rule of avoiding strength and attacking weakness in a corporate setting. Instead of competing head-to-head with an established giant in a saturated market, a disruptive startup targets undefended niche demographics, capturing territory with almost zero resistance. His reliance on deception and espionage directly mirrors the modern realm of cyber warfare, where networks use misdirection and carefully planted disinformation to lead hostile actors away from critical systems. Because his theories focus on human perception rather than specific weaponry, they scale seamlessly to any environment where minds compete for an advantage. Ultimately, Sun Tzu wrote the world's first comprehensive theory linking strategic conflict directly to human psychology. We now live in an era defined by hybrid warfare, corporate espionage, and digital disinformation. Environments where relying solely on brute force is an outdated liability. In our deeply interconnected systems, direct, symmetrical conflict is rare. The battles are fought in the shadows, through maneuver, supply chain disruption, and perception. His most enduring lesson is that the most dangerous weapon on any battlefield, ancient or modern, is information, wielded by the disciplined mind of the strategist.